What is going on, everybody, and welcome to my tutorial video for May 2018. I hope you are all doing very well. Anyways, this is the tutorial video for setting up push notifications for your Unity game, and in this we'll be using Firebase Cloud Messaging Service. This tutorial is probably going to be the first of a series of tutorials on this push notification setup. So basically what we're going to be going over in this tutorial is I'm going to be showing you how to set up your Unity project, and then how you can set up the Firebase console to actually send push notifications. And by the end of today, we'll be able to send a test push notification from the Firebase web console to your Android phone. The setup for iOS devices like iPhones and iPads are very similar to this. There are a couple extra steps that you do have to do. And I will be mentioning that, but there are a couple things that I'm not going to go into complete detail on, but I will provide all the references to those particular things if you are setting up a Unity game for an iOS device. So the reason I am making this tutorial is because I'm working on a mobile game right now using Unity, and it is heavily reliant on push notifications because it's an asynchronous multiplayer game. If it's something that you think you might be interested in, go ahead and check it out on my website at homecookedgames.com. That link will definitely be in the description. And if you're watching this pretty recently after I am posting it, you may have a chance to enter my private alpha. All you need to do is just go to my website and sign up for my mailing list there, and you can sign up to be a part of that. But enough about that game. I'm just going to go over a couple of the prerequisites for some things that you will need to have set up before this tutorial. Of course, you're going to need a Unity application, and it's got to be version 5.3 or newer. And your project will need a bundle identifier, and I will be going over the setup of that in this tutorial. For Android, you're going to need a device running Android 4.0 or newer. That's Ice Cream Sandwich. And the Android NDK 10D or greater. For iOS, there's a bunch more things that you're going to need. No surprise there. You're going to need a Mac not only to compile your Xcode project, but actually to have Unity installed on it to build the Unity project that you will import into Xcode. So you can't, unfortunately, build it on your PC with Unity and then transfer it over to a Mac. You need Unity installed on a Mac for the Firebase applications to compile correctly in Unity. Of course, you're going to need Xcode installed. It's got to be version 8 or newer. You're going to need a physical iOS device to send push notifications to. You can't just use the virtual emulator, unfortunately. And you also must be a part of the Apple Certified Developers Program. This is the $99 per year subscription that allows you to develop for iOS devices. And the reason you're going to need to do that is so you can get an APN certificate and be able to allow your application to send push notifications. Also, you need CocoaPods 1.2.0 or later. This was something that was actually installed automatically when I was setting up Unity on my Mac, so I'm not sure if that'll be the same for you or not, but you may need to download that. And for your reference, I will be getting most of this information from the official Firebase documentation, which you can find on the Firebase website. Of course, that link will be in the description. But anyways, that sort of covers the scope of the tutorial and some of the prerequisites that you'll need. So without further ado, let's jump right on into the Firebase documentation. Alright everyone, so we're just going to start on the Firebase website here. Basically, we're just going to want to go to the Adding Firebase to Unity project page. I'll leave the link in the description, but if you want to navigate there yourself, you just go over to the Guides page, and under this Get Started section, there's Games and Unity. All we need to do from here is just click on this button that says download the SDK, and that will download in a zip file approximately 311 megabytes in size. And while you're here, you can also scroll down and check the prerequisites. Just make sure that you're not missing anything, even though I went over everything at the beginning of this video, but you can just go ahead and check through that yourself if you would like to. So the next thing that you're going to want to do is just go ahead and unzip that SDK package that we downloaded, and you'll see that the contents are a bunch of Unity packages that we can just easily import into Unity. All we're going to be importing for this tutorial is the Firebase messaging.unity package. All the other ones we don't need right now, but you can definitely review the documentation online if you want to add any of these to your project. Pretty straightforward. Alright, so here we are on a brand new Unity project. As you can see, there's absolutely nothing in it. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is just go ahead and change our bundle identifier. The way we do that is just go up to Edit, Project Settings, and Player. So again, that's Edit, Project Settings, Player. And once we click on this, we'll see that it opens up in the inspector over here. And so the bundle identifier is this right here. So you can see this is for PC, Mac, and Linux. This tab is for iOS, and this tab is for Android. Right now we're just going to be focusing on iOS and Android. So we would just want to change the bundle identifier. The typical syntax is com.companyname.productname. So for this case, we'll do com.jtgd for Johnny Turbo Game Development, of course, and then push notification tutorial. And then so we're just going to go ahead and copy that, and then we'll paste it over in on the Android side of things. So we just have that bundle identifier entered in on both sides here. You're going to want to remember what you put for that, because we are going to be using that in just a little bit when we go back over to the Firebase console. And then so the next thing that we're going to be doing in Unity is importing that asset package. The way we do that is just go up to Assets, over here to Import Package, and then Custom Package. We'll bring up a dialog box here, and then you can navigate to where you extracted those files to. Again, all we're going to need is the Firebase Messaging Unity package, so just go ahead and open that, and it'll prepare the package, and then you see we get this little window here, and it shows you all the files that will be imported once you import that package. Just hit the All button, make sure they are all checked because we want everything, and just go ahead and click the Import button. And then this will just take a minute here to import everything. So then over in our editor here, you'll see that we have a bunch of brand new folders, and you can go ahead and click through these if you want to check out the contents of them. The other thing you may notice is down here in the console, we see this could not locate Google services.json or Google services info.plist files. So that's what we're going to be obtaining next from the Firebase web console. Alright, so we're going to head back over to the Firebase website, and up in the upper right hand corner we're just going to go ahead and click on this Go to Console, and then it'll have you sign in with your Google account, so just go ahead and do that. So then once you log in, you're going to be brought to a page similar to this. As you can see, this is the mobile game that I'm working on right now. But for this demo, we're just going to create a new project so we can go through this whole process here. So just type in a project name. So push notification tutorial, and then it's going to assign us this project ID. And then so down at the bottom here, you can accept the terms and conditions for sharing your analytics data with Google. So you can just go ahead and uncheck that if you don't want to share your analytics data with Google. But I recommend that you do, so just go ahead and check that bottom box, and we'll create the project. And then so this is just going to take a second to finish up here, and then we can go ahead and continue on to our project. So then the first thing that we're going to do, right up at the top here, you're going to notice it's prompting you what we already need it to do. So we'll have to create an app within the project for iOS or Android. So we'll be just going through the Android setup because it's a little bit easier, but it's pretty much the same thing for iOS. There is just a couple more steps that I will mention when we get to that point. So just go ahead and click the Android icon, and then here we're going to want to enter in our package name, and this is going to be the same one that we entered into Unity. So I'll just go ahead and paste that in, make sure that we got it correct. So com.jtgd.pushNotificationTutorial. And then, so this is a nickname just for you. You can put in literally whatever you want here. And then you'll just click register app. And here is where we download this Google Services.json file. And then, as you'll remember, this is one of the files that Unity was showing us that warning for. And then you don't need to worry about any of this stuff on the next page here. That's for if you're actually building an app by hand and not using Unity or anything like that. And then so also I'll just show you how you can add another app. Again, you can add a different Android app if you have multiple versions of the same app that have different bundle identifiers. You could, do that. So real quickly, we'll just go through the iOS setup because it's basically the same thing. Put the bundle identifier in here, and then we'll say iOS nickname. And you can also put your App Store ID in there if you want to. So we'll just click register app, and then we'll just download this Google service-info.plist file. And then again, you don't need to worry about any of this stuff because we're using Unity, and Unity makes things really easy. Alright, so now we're just going to pop back over to Unity, and we're going to grab those config files that we just downloaded. Again, if you're only making an Android app, you're only going to need the JSON file, and if you're making just an iOS app, you're just going to need that PLIST file. So these files can actually go anywhere in the assets folder, and so to make it easy, I'll just drop them at the root here. So you'll see we have this Google Services and the Google Services-info. And so one thing that I am going to do is I'm just going to create a quick little script here that can set up a few things. So we'll just call this the Firebase Notification Controller. And so we'll just go ahead and open this script up. Basically just grab most of the code in this script from the Firebase website, and all this does is once the device is assigned a token, it'll print it out to the screen, and if the message is received, it will just print the ID of who actually sent the message to the debug console rather. And so one thing that I would just like to point out is you'll see in the onTokenReceived function I have the token.token variable there, and so that's the Firebase Cloud Messaging token that is assigned to the individual device from the application. And that's an individual token that's specific to just your application. And the cool thing about that token is you can use that to send push notifications to individual devices. And I'll show you what I mean by that in just a little bit here. And then so back over in Unity, we're just going to want to take this C# script and drop it onto something in our scene. So for example, say the main camera. And then so you'll notice if we just hit the play button here, we'll get a don't destroy on load, and it has some Firebase services object here. You will notice that down here in the console we don't actually see a device registration token, and the reason for that is because we're on a PC and not an Android device or an iOS device, so it can't actually assign a device token to this. And so that's pretty much all the setup that we need to do in Unity. So we'll just go ahead and save the scene here, and then so the next thing that we're going to do is make a build. So we'll go over to the build settings, add the current scene. If you haven't done so already, go to Android and switch your platform. Or if you're doing iOS, go ahead and click on iOS and switch platform. Basically then just create a build. We'll call this testnotifications.apk, and this will just take a minute to build here. And then once we have our APK file, just go ahead and drop that onto your Android device. Go ahead and install that. Make sure you have developer options enabled on your phone, of course, so you can install APKs from unknown sources. So then once you have your app on your device, just go ahead and open it up, and you should be brought to a screen that basically just looks like this. Pretty much nothing, because we have nothing in our Unity scene at all. But that doesn't matter, because there's a bunch of cool stuff happening in the background, such as assigning your device a Firebase Cloud Messaging token. So basically once you open the app, your device has a Cloud Messaging token, and it is able to receive push notifications. Alright, so back in the Firebase console here, you'll notice that over in our Android app here, you'll see that it actually has one user, and that's because we downloaded it and installed it onto our application. So this is the one user. If you're seeing this, that means that pretty much everything is working as it should be, and you can actually send a push notification. So the way we're going to send a test push notification today is over on the left side here under the tab that says Grow. You'll notice there's one called Cloud Messaging. So we're just going to go ahead and click on that. And then, it gives you a little blurb of what you can do. And then so just go ahead and click Send Your First Message. And here is where we can actually compose the notification and send it. So, we can put whatever we want here, but we'll just say this is a test notification. And you can put a label on here, just something easy for you to remember. The end user actually doesn't see this. So we'll just say test notification. And so for the delivery date, you can actually send it now or at a specified time. But we'll just go ahead and send it now. So for target, we have a couple different options. So here we have user segment, and this is what we'll be using. Basically, you can select an app. So we'll select the Android one. And then if you want, you can click and then there's a bunch of different like subcategories of people that you can send to. For now, we'll just send to everyone who has the Android app downloaded on their device. You can also select topic if you have a topic for your app. For example, this would be people who are subscribed to certain news feeds within your app or something like that. Or you can do single device. This is where that token.token variable from Unity would be used. Basically, this is the Firebase Cloud Messaging device token, and you can dump that in there and send a message to a single device. But for the purposes of this tutorial, we'll just do user segment, select the Android app, and if you want, there are some advanced options and configurations that you can do there. But for now, we're going to keep it simple, not mess with any of that, and just go ahead and click the Send Message button. And then this will pop up a message, just confirming all the settings are correct, and we'll just go ahead and click Send. And then pretty much right away, we'll get a nice little notification coming through on our device. I'm sure you heard my phone go off there. And you'll see the notification basically just has the name of the application, which is Push Notification Tutorial. And then under it, it has the message that we put, which is this is a test notification, exclamation, 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 exclamation. All right, so that's basically how you can send push notifications to an Android device. Real quickly, I'm just going to go over some of the setup for sending push notifications to an iOS device. It's a little bit more complicated, and I'm not going to go into everything in complete detail, but I will give you the resources to be able to do it yourself because it's not that difficult. So in our Firebase console, we'll just go to the little gear here and then project settings. Up at the top, there's the tab for cloud messaging. And then you'll see here, there is this iOS app configurations panel. And basically it wants a few things. You need to upload an APNS authorization key, and then you'll also have to put in your APNS certificates down here if it's a development or production build. And then so I will link to this page, but if you want to go to the instructions for how you actually generate all this stuff, just go here in the upper left for Go to Docs. And then we can just click the Get Started for iOS here. Under Cloud Messaging, we'll go to iOS and then Configuring APNs with FCM. And so basically, it's just this pretty short page that shows you how to log into your Apple developer account, create the authorization key, and upload it, create an app ID, and then it basically just goes through everything that you need to do. So of course, Apple makes you go through a couple more steps. It's pretty straightforward. I did it with my other game, but I'm not going to go ahead and go through all the trouble to do that now because it's not super complicated. But if you are having any issues with it, feel free to drop me any comments down in the comments section below. because I have gone through that process myself. Again, you do need to pay for the Apple developer subscription, which is a $99 per year subscription fee. Without that, you will not even be able to send test push notifications to a mobile device, which is a little bit unfortunate, but you know, Apple will be Apple. So that's a wrap for this tutorial. That's basically how you can send push notifications to your Unity game. I hope you found it informative. If you did, make sure you leave this video a like. Also, feel free to subscribe to my channel for more tutorials and more game development vlogs. If you have any questions or comments for me, feel free to drop them down in the comment section below. And I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video.